Hi Cookheads, Betty Cookoff here. I was on my way to my local bowls when I met a lovely gentleman called Dan, the Van Man. He's a lovely guy, and a few years ago he bought a vehicle and decided to convert it into a camper van so that he could travel around Australia. What he's done to this vehicle is absolutely incredible, and I wanted to share it with you. So today's video is all about Dan and his van. This is Dan the Van Man.
G'day.
And look what he's done to this amazing van. First of all, Dan, tell us, what sort of car was it?
It's still the same car,
So it's basically a Hyundai iLoad van. It's a petrol manual, straight six, and I got it for a bargain price. And since getting it, that's when I've decided I want to turn it into a camper van.
So when you got it, it was just a normal van, and you've done everything to it.
Absolutely, it was just a shell of a van.
Not that much of a
I had no
shell.
idea what I was doing, so I watched the good old encyclopedia of YouTube, got some ideas, some inspiration, and away I went. This is the main entrance inside the back of the van. This side of the van I have set up also with some LED lights. So in the evening, if you've got the awning out and you do want to hang out here in your camp chairs, whatever you're doing, you can light it up with the press of a button. So there's two there that are quite bright. One is actually just sufficient enough to light up the area, but there's two there if you want it a little bit brighter. So on opening the door, firstly you probably see some water containers. This one here is just a 20 litre container for the spring water for drinking. So you fill your water bottle up, your kettle, whatever, with that one. This one here is just tapped water. That's mainly just used for rinsing dishes and other bits and pieces, things like that. So that's why I've got two containers there.
Awesome.
As you sort of come into the van, I'll hop in. So the bed is at a size, particularly for me, not being an overly tall person, I can sit on the bed and I've got clearance from the roof. So that was a big factor, as I didn't really want to be banging my head on the roof if I wake up in the morning and forget I'm sleeping in my van. The TV is actually just inside there. It's on a bracket, so it actually will swing right out to being into the middle section of the van here. So you can then lay down on your pillows and your cushion and watch whatever movie you want for the evening.
Awesome, and I can see some nice lights up there. I'm assuming those stars.
Yes, I do have a bit of lighting going on in the van. So firstly, I've got some LED strip lights here. They're controlled by a little dimmer switch. They are good if you're hunting for something through the van.
Now, where did I
If you're
put it?
chilling in the van, they're actually a little bit overpowering. They're a little bit bright.
Right.
So these are the little Christmas tree lights that I found. They just seem to set a nice sort of brightness. So that's what they're doing there. Now, the vehicle is basically powered by two big batteries. I've kept it old school. So they are basically what they call deep cell or deep cycle batteries. I've got two of them running, and they're both daisy chained together, so they support the load of all the electrics. They are connected to the alternator, to the engine, so that when I'm driving, they are charging.
Wow, that's
So,
amazing.
Yeah, so they're pretty good. So they're quite sufficient to run all the electrics throughout the vehicle.
Now let's look at storage.
I've got two drawers here. One is food and just other utensils. The other one is clothing. I used to pack way too much clothing and pack way too much food, and I guess over time that's something I have just learned to cut down on. There used to be like 4 containers under here, and a lot of that stuff just came for the ride. It was actually just silly having that much stuff in the van. So now I've streamlined it down to 2 drawers and just the essentials that you need. If you have a converter van, it's all about just storage for things that you are using on a regular basis. And you want them in areas where it's not difficult to get to them. So again, these drawers just pull out quite easily just to get to things. And even where there was a little bit of space left over, I thought, well, I can fit another kind of sliding drawer in there. So then I've just sort of toothpaste and all your deodorants and things like that. At the back, if I do washing and I'll have a shower, there's all stuff for that in the back. So that's just another little bonus, just having these tiny little slide out things just to make use of any unused space.
Clever placement of cargo nets, shelves, drawers and cupboards can really help with storage too.
Throughout the van, you might have noticed just in the top corners there, there's a few speakers going on. So what I did is build some little shelves, and I was able then to mount some Logitech speakers connected up to Bluetooth. There's a subwoofer there as well. So in the evening, if you're cooking dinner, or a lot of the time I'll have a campfire going on at the back section of the van outside, you can sit around and enjoy a cold drink, watch the stars, and have your favourite tracks playing. When I was travelling through WA, I found that I was doing a lot of one-night stops, and my previous setup was basically taking out a table, taking out the Weber barbecue, the gas bottle, and all those things that you require to cook and settle in for the evening. And I just found it was a big hassle. It was quite exhausting setting up and packing up for one night. I thought there has to be a better way. So I discovered a sliding kitchen which fitted nicely into the back section of my van. So basically with the sliding kitchen, I'll give you a little demonstration. You have one little area here that pulls out and clicks into place. You then have a second section that pulls out and clicks into place. You have some drop down legs in order to support the weight and not put any stress on the slide. So they can pop down like that. Quite easy to set up. This little top part here comes out easily as well, and then you can just move the Weber barbecue to there, a chopping board here, and everything you need in order to cook a beautiful campfire meal for the evening.
Wow, so that's on tracks as well, your Weber?
It is, yes, yep, that's on tracks. That top section slides out just to make it easier to get a hold of it and lift it out. Otherwise you're probably putting a bit of strain on your back, reaching right into the van. So that's another little bonus about this whole little setup.
That's brilliant. And I noticed you've got a few hooks down here.
That's something I did myself because when you're cooking for the evening, you know, you've got utensils, you have a rubbish bin, you have a tea towel to wipe things down when you're doing the washing up. There was none of that sort of stuff around on the slide out drawers. So then I just added these little hooks, just pop riveted in, and honestly, they make a huge difference.
Just make things nice and easy. And you're all ready for your one night stand.
Betty.
I mean, one night
Ooh.
stay.
One night stand would be nice. Yeah, but none of that has happened just yet along the highway. And as they say, what happens on the highway stays on the highway.
I love it. That is absolutely awesome. So you've got your little pull-out table, and then you've got a bed in there. Is that right? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes, so I have put a bed in there. The bed is built out of aluminium, which I reinforced for extra strength, just to keep the weight down overall in the van, because that's something that can happen quite easily. You can overload your vehicle with just too much weight. So I need something that's lightweight and strong, so I built the size of it to fit in nicely. I've got a coil spring mattress made to size. It's a pillow top as well, and honestly have the best night's sleep in my van.
I've just noticed some little wooden shelving and drawers here. Can you talk us through what you've done on this side of the van?
Sure, absolutely. Basically, when you're travelling, the weather conditions can change dramatically. So you might go to bed on a nice warm evening, it's been a sunny day, and the next thing you know, a storm rolls in the middle of the night. So when you wake up, it's pouring with rain. You're not going to be able to probably come outside and then pull out your slide out kitchen, use your Weber or everything like that. So I was like, well, I'm going to need to come up with something to be able to just get through those moments. So that little area there was just a vacant space. So I utilised it with a bit of timber and sort of shelving, so that when you're travelling, that becomes like a storage box. And then when you might experience those evenings where the weather has turned and the rain is relentless, it then folds out like this.
Wow.
To become a little cooking area. I have a little gas burner that fits beautifully into there. So you can heat up water, you can heat up whatever, cook whatever, and I've put a little Laminex coating on it, just so that if there's any spillages, it's just a matter of just wiping it off to keep it clean. So that was how I utilised that space there. And then, as I said, when you are travelling, actually driving, that'll fit back over like that, and everything you need to cook in that section all then fits in nicely.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
So, being Better Cook Off, my easy go-to, particularly for the kids, is baked beans. But I'm seeing, you know, obviously you've got this little barbecue, and it sounds like you've been cooking some pretty incredible meals. What are your go-tos when you're on the road?
Well, one very popular go-to, particularly using the Weber, is satay sticks, steak, a lot of things like that. But the Weber is also an oven. So I have a lot of foil trays which I might put vegetables in, other things, and then pop it in with the lid down, and as I said, that becomes an oven. So I'm eating quite healthy, quite well, as I've seen a lot of other van life people basically living off of baked beans and living off a 2-minute noodles. There's only so long you can do that before you will be just rushing to the toilet over and over again. So I was like, well, that's not me. So by having now the Baby Q, just help you eat healthy, cook some good meals, and save some money.
And that's a great size. So what is that? That's a Weber...
Baby Q.
A Baby Q.
Yes, it's the perfect size for travelling.
Black Friday is a great
whether
time to
you're
get
a
items like
couple,
this on sale.
Maybe a family of 3, 4. This thing would be able to feed a family of 4 quite easily.
When you're on the road and if you can, catching your own dinner is a great way to eat healthy too. Just check out some of these dishes.
And don't catch one of these. Talk to us about your food storage. Where is it?
Okay, so I have a 75 litre fridge freezer going on. It's quite a big unit. Originally I had it in the back of the van, but it just took up a lot of space. So being a 3-seater van in the front section, I was like, why do I need the other 2 seats? I don't. So I decided to rip out the passenger seat, which was quite a bit of weight. It weighed over 50 kilos, quite heavy. So it worked out that that was a perfect area to fit in a 75 litre fridge freezer. Now, this is an XTM brand. Basically, I've got it connected up to the batteries, and it doesn't draw too much power, which is good. It's got dual sections, so you've got one there for all your food, milk, and then you've got another smaller section here, which can be for cold drinks, beer, whatever you want, all sorts of things. So that is where I store a lot of my things that need to be refrigerated. Each section of the fridge can be controlled individually, just through the little buttons here. That thing is fantastic. So yeah, this is where this lives now. As I said, it used to live in the back, and just being the size it is, it took up a lot of room, and it's just turned out perfectly to where that fits. In order for it to fit nicely, I extended the timber flooring after taking out the chair, and put carpet on there as well, and that is fastened down, so over some of the bumps on the highway it's not going to get airborne. So yeah, that's not going anywhere, that thing.
So you won't see your lunch
No, I won't see
on your lap?
flying against the windscreen or on my lap or wherever, and cans of beer flying everywhere. So yes, that's where this is all about now in the front section, and it's probably been one of the great upgrades I've done to the van.
Is that just a fridge, or is there a freezer compartment to it?
It's actually fridge freezer, so both sections can either be a fridge or a freezer. They can go down to at -20 if you want to turn it into a freezer. That might draw a little bit more power because it's now becoming a freezer. Or you can just have them as a fridge. So either or, fridge, freezer, both a freezer, both a fridge, whatever you'd like to do in your camping situation.
Now Dan, I've noticed some tubs on the top of your van. Talk us through what's going on up there.
Okay, so those 2 tubs that are on the roof cage, basically they are just storage for recreational things. I don't mind a bit of fishing, so I've got my fishing tackle boxes up there, fishing rods, I've got snorkeling gear, electric saw for chopping wood for a fire, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what lives in those tubs. In order to get access to those, initially obviously you need a ladder. There were a few ideas that were flying around from friends and family as to what to design, but at the end of the day I found probably the winning thing and solution for me was what I've got stored in here.
Ooh, what is it?
So I have what's called a telescopic ladder.
Ooh.
Very lightweight, can hold 150 kilos, so basically doesn't take up a lot of room. You extend it like this, it locks in, then you rest it on that little area there on the foam.
Pool noodles have endless uses, as you can see here.
Down to the tubs to get to my fishing gear and whatever else I've got in there. The Weber also uses a gas bottle, so I have a gas bottle holder up here, so when I pull up to the camp spot, the ladder comes out, I can reach and get the gas bottle down.
So Dan, I've noticed a few vans on the road and they seem to have solar panels on the roof. Have you got anything like that?
I do actually, yes. So as mentioned earlier, I've got these big deep cell or deep cycle batteries going on, and when you're driving, they're getting a charge from the alternator. Now, when you're at a camp spot for say 4 or 5 days, you might run these a little bit low, and you're not driving, so they're not getting a charge. So what I actually have is a solar blanket that is up in the roof tub. So the solar blanket then is unfolded, put upon the roof tubs. The wires are then connected into this regulator here, which then tells you all the stats about what's going on with the charge, and it then connects to the batteries. So solar is included in this van, but in the form of a solar blanket. I went that way because it compacts down into a little carry bag. Again, storage is a big factor. That fits beautifully up in the roof tubs and is only really used when I'm at a spot for about 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, awesome. And I noticed this. I'm guessing this is not another battery. What's this here?
Okay, this is not a 4-wheel drive, as you might have already noticed.
Not quite.
So I can go off-road a little bit on dirt roads, and I've been on plenty of corrugated rough ones, driven on plenty of beaches. So you'll need to maybe let your tyre pressure down and also then inflate your tyres. So what I sort of have got going on here is basically I've got a compressor in the corner there that's mounted to the floor. In here is basically all the hosing to connect to the tyres to inflate or deflate those situations. So I've bolted that here again just so I can get to it easily. Stuff like that used to live in the roof tubs, and if I wanted it, I had to get the ladder out, so I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. So that is when I have just decided to bolt in this little toolbox, and basically that's where all that sort of stuff lives quite easily. And there's some other little electronic things in the top little compartments there too, but that's just there because it's very easy to access and connect to the compressor real quickly. Drop your tyre pressure, inflate, whatever you want to do, so you can go on the beaches of Australia and have a drive, and you can go down those dirt roads quite smoothly.
So tell me, with that compressor then, how many times have you had to change a tyre?
Well, I haven't had to change any tyres. I've been lucky enough not to get any flat tyres.
Yes! That's amazing.
Touch wood. But in situations where those on sand, you do need to deflate your tyres, and I've had to do that quite a bit actually.
And Dan, I mean, you're a well-groomed gentleman, but what do you do when you are off-grid, you've been there for a few days, and you start to smell yourself? What do you do?
Well, you absolutely stink. I can't do much about that because when you get up the top end, it's pretty hot. So you're sweating a lot, and you might have a lot of dirt on your body and that. So yeah, you do stink. What I have going on is a little 12-volt water pump. You connect the hoses up to that. One hose goes into the water container there, and the other hose is a portable shower head. So you can just have what's called a bush shower, strip down to your jocks or your bathers, and basically wash your hair, wash your body, and just shower yourself off. It's quite a powerful little pump, so the water pressure is there for you, and it'll keep you nice and fresh and smelling okay. Woo! Rather than being a feral traveller.
That's awesome. Okay, and my last question, if we're going to go there. So you're out in the middle of nowhere. Are we using a spade and digging a hole for your number twos?
Oh no, not me. A lot of people might do that. A lot of overseas travellers I find tend to do that and not bury it properly. So there's a lot of campgrounds which have toilet paper all around the area. Yeah, no. Disgusting. Not too good. It's not a good thing. A lot of other travellers might have a chemical toilet, or it's just the basics of a bucket and a bag. These are typically the general things that are being used in order to keep Australia nice and clean.
And that's what we love, keep it clean. Well, a huge thank you to Dan the Van Man for taking us through his incredible van. So grateful, Dan. This is amazing. Sounds like you are living the dream. So congratulations, and thanks for sharing it with us.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, very jealous. Go and enjoy the greatness of Australia, and hopefully we will cross paths in the future.
Thanks, Betty. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. I better get back to my bowls because my team's waiting. And I've got to win some more of these. Yay! Well, I'm not going to win this one. That was a bit rude. But I'll win some more of the others. Woohoo! Okay, bye.